Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name's David and this is a book review. Actually, we're going to look at 5 books, and I just want to kind of put out there the argument for books. I've heard a lot of younger magicians and I don't want to say less mature magicians, but I do see this on public forums and even in comments in book sections, and where they talk about how, I'm just not into books and I would rather get a DVD or I'd rather watch my magic on a video. Here's why I would argue for books, and just hear me out, okay? Number one, books are less expensive, okay? For the same cost that you would maybe perhaps get one digital download, you could buy one book. And a book has hundreds of magic tricks in it, compared to a digital download, which is one trick, okay? Then there's the argument, well, not every trick in a book is gold. Not every trick in a magic book will blow an audience away. They're not all stunners. They're not all, they wouldn't really fool a person today. And to that I say, you know what, it's not really about the book at that point. I don't think there's any such thing as bad magic. I think that you, as the magician, you make the magic good or bad, and you make the magic relevant. And so if you read an effect and it sounds old or it has an older approach, I think it falls on you then to take that principle and apply it. And I think that just goes along with your maturity level as a magician, and so I would highly recommend books. The second reason is books don't have any battery life. And what I mean by that is you can literally take a book anywhere, and even though you could place a digital download on a hands-free device or a reader or maybe even your phone, and yes, you probably could take it on the plane or take it on vacation or take it in the back seat of your parents' car, the reality is your book is never going to drain of battery, and whenever you need it, if you're reading about a certain sleight or you hear a sleight mentioned on the internet, you can quickly go back to your resource, break the book open, and find it. Whereas in digital downloads, you kind of have to fast forward to the position, and books are just more readily accessible. They're just quicker. They're just easier to take with you. Books are also quiet. I could take a book to a boring lecture or to something that you don't really want to sit still with, and they're a little bit more socially engaging. When you're sitting, if you have to go to a friend's house or a relative's house, you're not really excited about going, and I know I'm using a lot of air quotes right now. Just take a book with you and a deck of cards. Don't take your hands-free device. The book will just keep you engaged in the conversations more, and so I really want to make an argument that print is not dead. Okay, so I want to go through these 5 books, and these are just the first 5 I grabbed off the shelf. I've got more. Maybe we'll get to those at another time, but I wanted to make sure that you learned about these right now. All of these books are published by Dover, and that is a really good indicator about some of the more beginning and intermediate books on magic. With the Dover books, you're always going to get just a little bit more than just the handful of tricks that you might get in some of the books that are published by a specific magician. The first one I want to point out to you is the Encyclopedia of Card Tricks by Gene Huggard. Gene Huggard is an Australian magician. He has written most of the books that we will look at today, and he's probably written like 40 others. Gene Huggard was selected to be the Society of American Magicians Hall of Famer. He won the Magic Circle's highest award, the Silver Wand. He also won the Melbourne Christopher Award, and he's an honorary lifetime member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians. And Gene Huggard died in 1959. Now, the Encyclopedia of Card Tricks, it remains to this day one of the most comprehensive and exhaustive books on card tricks, even after it's 60 years in publication. If you want to know just a brief summary of the table of contents, you got effects covered that are impromptu, spelling effects, you do as I do tricks, special card tricks, special deck tricks, calculation effects, and tons of miscellaneous card tricks. This is a must-have if you own gaff cards or even gaff decks. Don't waste your money on those big, expensive videos that explain how to use gaff cards. This one book will give you all you need to know about double facers, double backers, one-way back designs, stripper decks, Svengali decks, you name it. It's simple, yes, but simple does not mean it's bad. You take this as your building block, your foundation, and you build on it. So highly recommended, Encyclopedia of Card Tricks. Mine's so worn and bent and folded, I'll probably need to get another one day. Second book, Annemann's Card Magic by Ted Annemann. This is also published by Dover. Annemann, he was a mentalist. He lived back in the 40s. He's most famous, actually, for inventing and even refining a lot of the standard mentalism routines that you will come across, and even ones that are used by magicians today. There are 112 tricks in this tiny book. There's dazzling flourishes, there's manipulations, there's easily mastered step-by-step guides to each trick, and there's a combination here of just clear descriptions, drawings, precise methods that are needed to achieve all the effects in here. This book ranges from the simple to just the downright stunning, and it's over 180 pages. So, Annemann's Card Magic by Ted Annemann. The next book is Card Manipulations by Gene Huggard. This book is a wonderful resource for anyone wanting to improve sleight of hand. It contains over 165 card tricks and stunts. And while the book starts with the basics, you got to understand that the basics can be very challenging to master, and many of the tricks will require very serious practice to make them polished enough to perform for a real audience. The text of this book, it can be a somewhat dense, as some of these books, have been written a long time ago. They will require a few readings to kind of get the gist of what's being said. And while there are some difficult tricks to perform in here skill-wise, there are a number of things that the absolute beginner can pick up pretty quickly. This book consists of 5 mini books, all put together, and it's over 160 pages. So, Card Manipulations by Gene Huggard. Another great book is The Royal Road to Card Magic by Gene Huggard and Frederick Brahe. Frederick Brahe, he lived on the opposite side of the country, actually, from Huggard, and they wrote their books together through letter writing. That's before email, kids. And of course, you might recognize his name as the inventor of the brow reversal. Every chapter in this book will introduce 3 or 4 tricks that go with the sleight that you're learning. And so he'll introduce the sleight first, and then the effects that go with it, all through this book. And in this book, you're going to learn the overhand shuffle, rifle shuffle, flourishes, the glide, the glimpse, key cards, palming, backflip, overhand shuffle, fall shuffles, double lifts, turnovers, the pass, tons of flourishes, tons of reverses, the Hindu shuffle, a lot of controls, the classic force, and even top and bottom changes. There's 20 chapters in this book. That's almost 300 pages of just awesome magicness. The Royal Road to Card Magic by Gene Huggard and Frederick Brahe. And of course, the last book, the granddaddy of them all, The Expert at the Card Table by S.W. Erdnase. Actually, we don't know that much about S.W. Erdnase. There are rumors and speculations about who he might have been, but there's nothing set in stone. This is the most famous, carefully studied book ever published on the art of manipulating cards at the gaming tables. As comedian Steve Martin said, if he were ever stranded on a deserted island, this is one of just 5 books he would want with him. Magician Diamond Jim Tyler, he was quoted as saying that this book contains the real mechanics used by professional card handlers. We know that the author's true name is not known because he knew that when exposing these tricks, it could actually be detrimental to his health. So most of the material within this knuckle-busting book is difficult, but it's worth your time. And if you'd like to know how the real card cheats do what they do, I would recommend picking up this book. You're going to learn things like retaining stock, fall shuffling, culling, palming, transformations, and even card tricks. This book was written at the turn of the 20th century, so the language, again, is going to be a bit dated, but the illustrations more than make up for it, and the text does provide some excellent direction for each and every detail of each and every move. There's about 130 pages in here, and like I said, this is the granddaddy, the master of them all. So that's 5 books for you to think about. 5 books that I could recommend for you. I know that all of these, maybe with the exception of one, are all available right now on Amazon. I know you can find some of these books at dananddave.com as well, and they should be available at your local brick and mortar magic store. Thanks.